One of the most dangerous things that any of us can do is develop an attitude that it's okay to hate someone who doesn't agree with you. There is no way unity can be something that is realized in this world, regardless of what that lens looks like, if we refuse to meet each other in the middle. And 20 years ago, this seemed to be common knowledge. I felt like it was one of the primary lessons that was taught. The golden rule, do unto others that you would have done unto you. And kindness is key. Kindness doesn't cost anything, right? But now we live in an age where the public assassination of a political figure and or someone who just was very opinionated is something that has divided the population. Some people think it's acceptable and tolerable to celebrate death, to say, well, that person was horrible, they deserve to die. And it makes me wonder, well, if I was in their shoes and there was someone on the other side, I guess, since, yes, I am conservative-leaning libertarian-ish, but I also do align with a lot of Republican values. And that's after spending almost a decade as a liberal vegan. So I've swung both ways with the pendulum, and I've come to a place where I feel like I have grounded logic and I have faith in something larger than myself, and the ideals that I personally believe and would like to see in society and want to teach my children, they are aligned with the Christian religion. I don't see that as a bad thing. I think the Christian religion is one of the most peaceful, and I know that there is dissonance in our culture as it pertains to our laws continuing to reflect Christian values and people not wanting to live in a society that allows freedom of speech, even if that includes what some might call hate speech, or the ability to uphold specific values and how we treat each other, love each other. There's a lot of people coming into the country. There's a lot of people who have been here that have different opinions, and I personally don't have a problem with that if immigration is legal, because I think that it's only common sense. I couldn't go to Bali or Costa Rica and stay there as an illegal immigrant. I would be kicked out. So doesn't it make sense that we would also do the same in our country? Why would the United States give those who are coming in a pass? Asylum seeking is a different conversation than just people who are immigrating here illegally. Anyways, to my point, there are a lot of different opinions in how this country should be. Something that I've witnessed is the continual decline of a moral framework and the ethics and how we live. Honestly, the media and what people post and what they think is acceptable and what's glorified is bordering on the disgusting and definitely the immoral. And it makes me not want to be part of the public because it is just sometimes so confronting and disgusting in what people think we should be celebrating as a culture. And yeah, there are other factors at play, like how we've been subliminally advertised to for a couple of decades now, the type of media that's in our faces, the addictions that have shown up with food, sex, gambling, social media. We are an addicted and largely toxic species, and we're rebelling at fundamental truths and reality that can keep us on the track towards a future that would allow us to live collaboratively and in peace, despite having disagreeing opinions. The reason I think this is the most dangerous thing is to get off that track and say, no, I want anarchy and rebellion, and I want to walk around naked and do whatever I want. I don't care about whoever sees me, and laws in society is because it's very narcissistic and selfish. There's no wider perception of what you can do to help others, the type of culture you would want to be in, how you want children to be raised and exposed to. And I think that's really like the heart of the epidemic that we're witnessing is people are very, very selfish. They think that their needs and wants matter more than anyone else's. As long as they're feeling good and they're able to pleasure themselves, they should be able to do whatever they want, and the rest of us should just allow it. And I think that people like Charlie Kirk, when they spoke against it, and I guess myself too, and said, you know, can we have a conversation about it? Because at the end of the day, I don't think this is what's best for society. I don't think this is what's best for you. They're demonized. And I've witnessed this myself over the past year, becoming more vocal, being a little bit more open about my beliefs, and for instance, supporting Kirk. I actually really enjoyed listening to his talks, not because I thought he had wonderful arguments all of the time, but because he would have conversations with other people and I could hear their rebuttal and I could hear what he would say, and I would learn. I would genuinely learn. I would listen to the 1.5 hour long talks where he would just say, come have a conversation. Have a conversation. Wasn't doing anything aggressive other than sharing his opinions, which we can disagree with. I didn't agree with everything that he said either. But he was publicly assassinated for that. And the glee that came out of it, I think we all witnessed it. A lot of us were really taken aback and shocked that society has gone this far down a path that is just seemingly unrecognizable from what maybe we grew up in the 90s or even the 80s. And I think it's worth having a conversation about. And I'm willing to have a conversation about it now more than ever because, like I mentioned, I've witnessed the silent disappearance of friends. I've witnessed the labels of people saying, well, you're a fascist and you're a Nazi and you're homophobic before they even have a conversation with me. And at first I was really saddened by it. As I said, well, I've known these people. Some of them were in my wedding. I spent a lot of time with them in different times throughout my life. I think they would know that I value life more than anything. I value creation. I value honoring our Creator and what has been given to us. I don't celebrate anybody hurting regardless of their political opinions or their sexual orientation or their country of origin and where they're from. At the end of the day, I know a lot of people also agree with me that what matters most is someone's heart and how they show up, and if they're trying to treat other people with genuine kindness. I think that's really what matters. But we've allowed ourselves to get addicted to toxic inputs, and it's shaped and changed many people's minds so that I don't think they even honestly understand how polluted it's gotten. People like, soccer moms, people I loved, growing up. They were my friend's mom. They're awesome. Spewing vitriol and glee when the news of Charlie Kirk came out that he had died. And I looked at this individual and I just thought, how can you claim to be on the side that's tolerant and progressive when you are celebrating murder, when you are saying, wow, it was like a movie, I'm gonna watch it again? It's demonic. It's disgusting. And I've already lost a lot of people in my circle by being honest. So I don't really think there's much more risk of being open and honest about it anymore. It's not that I condemn anybody for having those opinions, but what I'm saying is the most dangerous thing we can do is become apathetic to the horror that should not exist in our world and think that, well, because CNN or MSNBC told me that this person is doing this thing, I'm going to act out and I'm now going to do eye for an eye. Philosophically speaking, we are taught against this behavior as well, too, as Christians, which is why if you look into situations, it's largely a lot more nuanced and complicated than what a headline makes it appear to be. Topics like immigration, the trans ideologies, and just how much should be exposed to young children, discussions on gun control, all of these are worth having. They're discussions that we need to find common ground on. I don't think that where society will end up on these decisions might be something I feel fully comfortable with, but I'll feel comfortable knowing that there was discord and conversations to find a place that made the majority of people happy. But if we can't talk with each other, and if we approach life now through this lens of I'm living in Armageddon and it's every person for themselves, I'm going to take out whoever stands in my way and I'm just going to be hardened and have no empathy, we have lost the way. There is no path forward, and the future that you claim to be fighting so hard for is going to be just so much more devastating than you can imagine. The only path forward is recognizing that you and I can disagree and we can still share this world. We can still have good times. We could have a meal together, a delicious meal. We could rave about how the chef did an incredible job. We could share some different stories. We could laugh, maybe even cry. And our political opinions would not affect that. But if you have been brainwashed to think that just because someone else has a different political opinion than you, that they are automatically all these different labels and they're a horrible person, you are part of the problem. You have been brainwashed, and it's time to wake up. You are being told that you need to turn on your friends and your family members without having a conversation, and that you, who are supposedly the more tolerant one, are justified with hate and intolerance. You are exhibiting the same behavior that you are claiming people who are fascists are doing. We are getting nowhere with this name calling. We are getting nowhere with the refusal to actually have conversations. Ghosting people, cutting them out of your life, and pretending like you're the better person does not actually make you a better person. Maybe I am awful because I think that women can genuinely flourish, most women, if they prioritize their family and they learn how to live as a partner with their husband. I'm not saying it's for everyone, but I think genuinely it's a calling that most of us have. Maybe I'm awful for thinking that it's worth having discussions before we just cut other people out of our lives and demonize them. Maybe I'm awful for thinking that conversations are worth having and that it's not okay to just gleefully celebrate someone dying, regardless if you agree with them or not. Maybe I'm awful for proclaiming and 100% believing that Jesus Christ is the truth and the way forward for all of us. Maybe I'm awful for believing that demonic manifestations do happen in congruence genuinely with psychological disorders as well, that there can be different situations, but that we are witnessing a spiritual battle taking place in the physical realm. Maybe I'm awful for even wanting to have a conversation and putting this out there, but honestly, it just makes me so sad that people are so quick to cut others out of their lives and not have conversations, and they're so quick to think that what they see on TikTok and the news is going to lead them down a path that's going to bring them happiness. I have had friends who have changed in so many different ways, who have become trans. I had no issue with it, but their personalities flipped, and then they just cut us out of our lives because they didn't like when any conversation that didn't fully align with their identity and the beliefs they were trying to feed themselves came up. We have to talk. You can be upset at people and still keep them in your lives. That is the most dangerous thing, is not believing that, honestly. When communication stops, violence begins. You know who said that? Charlie Kirk. Someone that the media would love you to hate. If you're gonna hate him, you're gonna have to hate me, because I agreed with a lot of what he said. Not all of it, but I did agree with a lot of it. Having freedom of speech is a freedom. It's not a privilege. It is something that we need to take advantage of while we can. We're seeing other countries losing their ability to speak out. People doing jail time for posting about topics that they don't agree with, topics against their government in Britain. Look it up. We are living in a time where Christians are being persecuted in Nigeria, in Egypt, and other locations around the world. We're living in a time where people are more prone to believe what they see on TikTok and the media than what they just hear from someone through a genuine conversation. So please be wiser. Please wake up. Your enemy is not the person sitting in front of you or to your right. The enemy is the one who wants to distort your relationship with your Creator, make you confused about who you are, make you confused about who you can trust and depend on, confuse you about what matters in this world. And the lies may sound and taste good for a period of time, but ultimately you'll come to a point where you recognize that you feel empty and alone and helpless. And that's what the enemy wants. And it's at that point he's going to try to convince you that you're not worthy, that you shouldn't be here, and that you've messed up beyond reparable repair. That's not true. There's always hope. There's always a path forward. God is love. God loves you. People like me, we're not hating because you hate us and because you refuse to talk to us and you think that we're wrong. We're praying for you. We love you. And we hope that you, dear brothers and sisters, will wake up and come, and when you're ready, have a conversation. We'll have the meal ready. We'll be waiting. Love you.